Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on with this Swedish December series that I'm doing for you, and many of you will actually have heard of the Danish gypsy brewers, Toul, Mikkeller, guys like this, but there's actually a Swedish gypsy brewer as well, and you've seen me do a few reviews for these guys before as well. So we're going to head up to a little place called Täby, which is near Stockholm, and we're going to return it to Mohawk Brewing Company, and tonight we're having a taste of their Brown Christmas or Brown Xmas, and this one, as you may have guessed, is a brown ale. And if you've watched my channel before, you will know that the brown ale is a style of beer that I really do quite enjoy. The first one I had was Brooklyn Brown, and it's really a nice staple brown beer. I really like American brown ale, so very much looking forward to trying this one for you tonight. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual website links are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Mohawk Brewing. There will be more added in the fairly near future, and there's all the usual social media things down there as well. The Facebook, the Twitter, and also the Untappd profile. So please support me on those. Your support is always much appreciated, and feel free to get in touch with me through whatever means you like. Always interesting to hear from you guys. To my Swedish viewers, I do apologise if any of the pronunciations aren't quite right. I'm still trying to learn Swedish. And please do let me know some other Swedish beers that you'd like me to have a look at. Some of the Swedish stuff that I've tried so far has been really, really good. So do let me know some of the more random things that you'd like me to have a look at. But anyway, Mohawk Brewing Company are what they describe themselves as a virtual brewery who basically use the extra brewing capacity at various other breweries. As I said, they're very similar to Mikkeller and Toul from Denmark in that regard. But they were founded in 2010 by Stefan Gustafsson, who had been working commercially in brewing for quite a few years, but then he'd been a home brewer for a long time as well. But he started home brewing because he was a poor student, and if you know anything about Sweden, you'll know that the alcohol prices here are kind of ridiculous. If you go to a bar, and also even if you go to Systembolaget, it can be quite expensive. But he also started home brewing because the range of beers in Sweden was very poor back at this time. And as I've told you in a couple of videos, it's only really the last 10 years or so that craft beer in Sweden has really taken off. But he was later inspired to form the Mohawk Brewery after seeing the success of these gypsy brewers in Copenhagen, namely Mikkeller. But now the Mohawk Brewing Company beers are a regular member of the Systembolaget range in Sweden, and they're actually distributed throughout the country by Wicked Wine, and I think you're actually starting to see these guys being exported a little further. I think you can get them in the UK now, might be wrong about that, and I'm pretty sure you'll find them over in Denmark. A lot of the beer shops, the good beer shops in Copenhagen, will have beers from these guys, and I have to admit, the beers that I've tried from Mohawk so far, I have been pretty impressed with, so I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden these beers become pretty kind of mainstream in the craft beer market. Really good stuff coming from these guys. But just to list the other beers you can get from them, they've got a big range of things, and as far as I can figure, this is their core range. So they've got the Citra, which is an IPA, there's the Anything Goes, which I've reviewed for you before, quite an interesting beer, unfiltered lager, Brown is the New Brown, and I think this beer may be a special edition of that done for Christmas. There's the Black Rocket and also the American Barley Wine too, and they've got their seasonal beers, Blizzard, which is an Imperial Porter, Snow Melter, which is an Imperial Stout, and Whiteout, which is another Imperial Stout, and I will review the Whiteout for you fairly soon. I do have a bottle of that in the cupboard behind me there. But anyway, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. Really looking forward to trying this one because, as I say, I've been very impressed with Mohawk's beers so far. So this one is a 5.7% brown ale. I went on the website to see if I could find the details of it, but there wasn't any hops or malt bases posted on this one, so that's one of the things. I really wish more of the breweries would put the hops and malt profiles of their beers, because it's always good for kind of beer geeks like me to know that. But it comes in at 5.7%, and I believe it was first released this year. This one is a Christmas 2015 release, one of 4 Christmas beers that they produced actually. There was the Double Xmas, the Brown Xmas, and also there's the Midwinter's Dark, which is a dark lager beer, and they've also got the Whiteout, which I will review for you very soon, like I said. But as I said, this is a 5.7% brown ale, released in Christmas 2015. The usual Mohawk artwork on this one, plain bottle cap, as there always is, and it says on the back here, this dark seasonal ale has sweet roasted flavours, making it ideal companion to all rich Christmas dishes. Enjoy. And it's yeah, does it say here where it's brewed? It's brewed at Slottsjälens Brewery, which is up in that's in Uppsala, up just to the north of Stockholm. The oldest university in Sweden is actually based there. Quite 1400s or something that was far. My university, Lund, was founded in 1666, so some pretty old universities here, but very nice looking beer, so we'll get it out and into the glass. Really looking forward to trying this one actually. No smoke coming off this guy at all, so yeah, we'll see how we get on with this. But you can smell the chocolate. Without even paying too much attention to that, you can really smell some of the nice chocolatey malts off this one, so let's give that a bit of an aggressive pour and see if we can get a wee bit of a head on this guy. Not much really forming from the head, I have to admit. Quite surprised at that. But yeah, just a very thin kind of quarter finger, creamy coloured, maybe slightly beigey coloured head there. That's going to fade away to just be a very thin foamy layer. That's not going to do very much with the head. But as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice kind of brown mahogany colour actually, maybe brown chestnut as well. If I bring the light over, you can see that it does have a nice kind of ruby tint to it, and if I put my fingers behind it, there is some degree of transparency. I don't think you can really see that with the camera too well, but I can just take my word for it, there is a bit of transparency to it there, but it is kind of hazy as well. There's one or two little bits of sediment floating around in it there, but just very, very small particles, not a lot at all, but looks very nice. Nice kind of ruby-ish tinge to this beer, but I think a kind of red, chestnutty brown colour is a good way to describe it. There's some big bubbles sticking to the side of the glass there, but quite a lot of little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head. A very, very attractive looking beer. So let's give it a smell and see how we get on here. Now that, I have to admit, very, very nice aroma coming off of this one. You've got that nice bready malt base that you expect from the brown beers in there, but on top of it there's a lot of stuff going on here. Really nice sweet aroma here. A lot of chocolate, I think, a nice big kind of sweet milky chocolate character in there. Some nice caramel as well. There's a good bit of sweetness from the caramel, but at the same time it's quite toasted as well. Maybe a little bit of yeah, there's a good bit of bready character there. It's a big bready, sweet chocolatey character, some sweet caramel and a little bit of toasted character to it as well. You can smell the earthy hops coming out of this one as well. It's really nice. It's a big mix of things, but I think it's the chocolate, the coffee, and a big bit of the breadiness that's coming out there. It's a very sweet smelling beer. It's really quite nice actually. There's some sort of butterscotch character to this as well. As I always say with these beers, just give them a smell before you actually dig into them, because there's this one in particular, this is a really, really nice smelling brown ale, perhaps one of the best brown ales that I've smelt before actually. So I hope that the taste matches up to that, because it's really very, very inviting, I have to admit. Nice earthy characters, sweet chocolate, sweet caramel, kind of butterscotch in there as well, but slightly toasty. The caramel has a good bit of toasty character to it, man. Some nice sweet doughy bread. Nice earthy hops as well. It smells kind of dusty too. There's maybe a bit of a grassy, dusty character to this one, but yeah, the aroma is really quite nice. Just trying to detect if there's any fruits in here. Sometimes you get a little bit of fruity character, and there could perhaps be just a little bit of a slightly red, estery candy fruit coming out. Yeah, just a little bit, but very, very mild. If you sugar it up a little bit, you can get a little bit of a kind of candied fruit red ester out of it. It always reminds me of the little heart sweets that you get from Haribo. Just a very mild red fruity ester there. A nice candied fruit note, but that's very, very mild. As I say, the big components of the aroma here: sweet chocolate, big bread, some caramel, and definitely a nice earthy hop there. The earthy hop in this smells really quite dusty actually, so do pay attention to that. But without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. This is the Brown Xmas, Brown Christmas from Mohawk Brewing Company, based in Täby in Sweden, near Stockholm. Skål! Now in the taste, on first impressions, it comes across as being very forward on the bready character, I have to say. So as I always say, sugar it around your mouth and let the whole palate adjust before you actually try this beer, or before you think too much about the flavours in this beer. Yeah, what I would say about this beer is that it is one of the more subtle brown ales. Everything's blending together really quite well. And a lot of the flavours, the actual taste of the beer is quite mild, but it's more the aftertaste where things start to come alive. So yeah, you've got a nice big sort of bready malt character, and that just blankets the middle of the tongue there. It goes right across your palate. A little bit of a kind of cereally brown bready character to it, but on top of that, it's actually got a bit of coffee flavour in there. It's a very mild coffee though, not too prominent, but the coffee roasty character just sits there in the middle of your palate and gives you a nice, slightly dry, roasted bitter character there. Yeah, there's a little bit of a kind of nutty or woody infused character there. As you move a bit more forward on the tongue, you can pick that out a little bit in the aftertaste. It's a nice kind of slightly infused woody character. Very, very nicely done. Quite subtle though, I should say. There's also, if you pay attention to the middle of your palate, there's some sweet caramel in there, but I think the chocolate, the kind of milky chocolate character in this one, is coming out just above the caramel. The caramel, I think, is quite subtle. That roasted coffee flavour is the thing that's lingering there in the middle of the palate. Then on top of it, you've got a nice, there's a little bit of caramel, like I say, but then the milk chocolate just comes on top of that, and then the coffee starts to push its way out again. But yeah, all of that's coming on top of a nice, smooth, big, bready malt base there. Around the edges of the palate, as I say, at the back, this is where you expect the hoppiness to come out. In the back corners of the palate, there's a nice, slightly dry, earthy hop character in there, really nicely done. As you move further forward, it smooths out a little bit and perhaps becomes a bit more grassy, but that just goes right around the edge of the palate there, really nicely done. But yeah, in terms of brown ales, this one is very subtle in a lot of its flavours, but in my opinion it blends together really well. You get these beers that are either very punchy, or you get the ones that are a very good blend of flavour, and this one fits into the latter category, and it does it very well in my opinion. I do like both. It's nice to kind of change it up with the style, and as I told you at the start of the video, this is a style that I really enjoy, and this is a nice kind of enjoyable one. I can see why they talk about pairing it with food, with Christmas dishes, because it's not, the whole idea I guess with it when it's meant to be food pairing is that it's not meant to overpower your food. You're not meant to have a very, like a huge coffee flavour when you're actually eating your food. It's meant to just pair it nicely, and I guess that's why they've gone for something that the flavours blend together a bit more. Really nicely done, I have to say. But yeah, just behind the very front curve of the tongue there, as you get with many beers, there's a little oily character comes out there, and you can pick up a very kind of mild red fruity ester. As I say, it reminds me a lot of the kind of red heart Haribo sweets that you can get. Just a very mild kind of candied red fruit flavour. Really quite nicely done, I have to say. But yeah, it's really nice, and in terms of the brown ale, it is one where the flavours are quite mild, but they blend together really well, and it comes alive a bit more in the aftertaste. And the aftertaste is the bready character that's lingering there, a bit of the earthy hop, a bit of the grassiness, but then that coffee bitterness is the thing that starts to punch its way out. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, this one I would say mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite smooth. It's actually got quite a wet mouthfeel to it as well, but just a little bit oily. But as I was telling you, it's very well balanced, I think. Yeah, there's a good balance there between the hops. The hops come across as quite smooth, just a little bit of kind of lingering dryness from the earthiness of the beer, but the malt base has a good balance between the sweetness and the bitter character as well. And as I say, the coffee bitterness is the thing that's really lingering in this one, and it's just a nice mild brown ale that, as I say, if you're into your food pairings, I'm not so much into them, but I can see why they're saying this is a good beer to try with some of the more rich flavoured Christmas dishes. It's a nice, quite mild brown ale where the flavours just blend together really well, so it would complement something a bit richer really quite nicely. So yeah, it's another really quite interesting beer from Mohawk Brewing Company. If you enjoy the brown ale style, then this is one you should have a go at. As I say, more of one that the flavours blend together rather than being too punchy, and both sides of the coin I think are very good. So if you enjoy brown ales, then you definitely want to give this one a try. How widely available this is outside of Sweden, I'm not sure. How close it is to the brown is the new brown, I'm not sure. You're probably more likely to find brown is the new brown from these guys if you find it at all. This is a seasonal beer that will probably disappear fairly soon after you see the review, but always cool to review beers like this that are only available in short session. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Go and check out Mohawk Brewing Company. Basically, with this brewery, just pick a style of beer that you like and you won't be disappointed with it. And if you are, come back and shout at me, I'm not so bothered. But yeah, go and check out Mohawk Brewing Company, Swedish gypsy brewers, quite similar to Mikkeller and Toil in a number of ways, but go and check them out, some really nice beers from these guys. As always, if you have tried this beer before, please let me know your own opinions on it, and also on the brewery as well, always interesting to hear that. But I thank you for watching my beer reviews. If you have enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Like all the social media things, follow me on there, let me know your own thoughts on the beer, and do let me know some other Swedish beers to review. I thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you're enjoying the Swedish series, and I will catch you soon with the next one. And there's more to come from Mohawk Brewing Company in the near future, so do go and check them out. Skål.